You're watching Hall County Connection, and we're here in the studio with Marty Nix, who's the Director of Public Safety, which includes Emergency 911. So let's talk about National 911 Day, which is September 11th. What do these people do every day? What are the day-to-day operations like in the 911 Center?
Well, in the 911 Center, of course, the Hall County 911 Center, we're the only public safety answering point in Hall County. So should anyone have an emergency in Hall County and they dial 911, that call goes into the 911 Center, Hall County. And at that point, the call takers can dispatch, take the call, and it's dispatched to wherever the help is needed. City of Gainesville Police Department, Flowery Branch, Oakwood, Hall County Fire Department, the Sheriff's Office, any place in Hall County that they need help, even on Lake Lanier, you know, whatever, we will get them the help that they need.
So we're the Hall County 911 Center, but we really service every single agency in Hall County.
Absolutely.
That's a big job.
Right, and there's no, you know, in other agencies, especially in the metro Atlanta area, you know, sometimes you will have calls that are transferred to other agencies. We don't do that here in Hall County. We're the only public safety answering point. So it helps in getting the people the help that they need faster.
So how many calls do you take in a month's time?
In a month's time, typically we will hit at least 10,000 911 calls per month.
And how many 911 operators do you have?
Well, we have about 50 full-time positions and about 20 part-time positions at any given time. But you know, typically we'll stagger the people, the call volumes will usually peak out about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we bring people in based on the call volume.
Mm-hmm. Why does the call volume go up around 5?
Well, typically, I guess at the end of the day, you have traffic, you have, you know, I guess people at 5 o'clock are not on their best behavior, so we have a lot of
It's been a long day for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So typically, and that's, you know, national stats too, about 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that, is typically when you'll get a lot of 911 calls.
So I guess if they're not on their best behavior, they might not be in the best mood either.
Absolutely.
I imagine 911 can be a stressful job.
It can be very stressful. Of course, we have mechanisms that, you know, our call takers and our operators, if they need a break, you know, they can take a break. We have, you know, employee assistance, and it is a stressful job, but we have mechanisms in place to help, you know, peer counseling and things of that will help them to get through it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess not just the stress of working with upset callers who are in a high-stress situation anyway, but also the situations that they're dealing with. A lot of times it's life or death.
Absolutely.
So that's got to weigh heavily on them, I would imagine.
Absolutely, and we do have a mechanism in place also, our emergency medical dispatch, to where, you know, everyone in the center is trained to give medical instructions to people needing help. And as a matter of fact, just this last week, we had, over the weekend, we had a person, a lady that wasn't breathing, and they were given CPR instructions, and she was fine. She made it through.
Wow.
So that's a good, we like to tell those type stories.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. And that's a fairly new program, isn't it?
It is. It's been in place for a little over a year now, and it's working out really well. We've delivered babies, and
oh my goodness.
Yes, a lot of people have got that, a good many people have got that, a good service out of that.
That's terrific. Well, what a great program.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for talking about 911 today. We
Good
appreciate
being
you
here.
sharing that. And now we're going to take a tour of the 911 Center with Emergency Operations Manager Lee Jarrell. 911 Day is really your department's chance to shine, but I know you guys do public education all year round. Tell me about the activities that you do.
Yes, we do public education all year round. Our biggest thing that we participate in is Safe Kids. Hall County Gainesville has a wonderful Safe Kids Coalition where we do 911 education. We do Safe Kids Week. It's usually in May, where we go pick 2 schools in the county, well, 1 county and 1 city. We go to 2nd and 3rd graders and educate them about 911 and various safety stations. We also, throughout the year, will go to churches, communities, events such as National Night Out, which we've recently done. And we also do Boy Scouts, your youth groups, things like that. More information about 911, especially to our children, the better off we are to educate our children as to how to use 911. We also will go to Community Service Center for the elderly, and some of our like Smoky Springs, things like that, anything like that. Just to
So
educate
do you guys
public.
take requests?
We do take requests, and we also have Holly, the 911 dog that we
Oh
take along
yes,
with
tell
us.
us about Holly.
Holly is a dog that we adopted back in November. She was a rescue dog, and she actually lives here at the 911 Center, and she goes to our community events, and the community loves her. She's very friendly, loves children. We discovered that she don't like the heat very much, but it's been really hot summer. But she enjoys that.
And she was adopted from the Hall County Animal Shelter,
yes,
right?
Yes, she was an abuse case, and we brought her in to foster her and get her used to individuals and be back socialized, and she has absolutely blossomed.
Well, this has turned into the dog show today.
Yes, it is, yeah.
We're talking about Pet Fest, we're talking about Holly. So, yeah, I bet she's really popular with the kids.
She is. She's very popular with kids. We took her and Safe Kids Week this year, we took her to 2 elementary schools, and she was the biggest hit. Usually, like, the firefighters and the helmets and the fire trucks are, but Holly beat them out this year.
Holly stole the show.
And they remembered 911 because of Holly.
That's right.
Holly the 911
Holly
dog.
stuck.
She did.
Great. Well, tell us, let's do a little public education right here. What is it that we need to remember when we call 911?
When you call 911, we have what's called the 6 W's and the H of call taking. The who, what, where, why, how, and weapons. The first thing, if we know where you're at and what's going on, the better we can get there to you. If you know your address, that's great. If you don't know your address, can you give us some landmarks? What do you see around us, especially if you're calling from a cell phone and you're not familiar with the area? The more information we can get from you, the better we can find you.
So it's good as you're driving down the road to be aware of your surroundings,
yes.
right?
Be around your surroundings. And working in 911 for 18 years now, when I go out driving, I start noticing things now. Okay, where am I at? If I needed to call 911, what road am I on? And it's great to know that information, especially for your children, because everybody has a cell phone now. If something must have happened to mom, dad, grandma, grandpa in the car, and that child had to call, how do we get to them? What do they see? What can they tell us?
Which is why education in the schools is so important.
It is. It's pertinent information that we need to educate our children.
Okay, so you need to know where you are. What
where
else?
you are. What's going on? What's the problem? We answer Hall County 911, what's the address of the emergency? And then, okay, tell me exactly what happened. This way, the more information we can get, do we need to send the fire, ambulance, or police? Who do we send? The more information they can give us, the better off we are.
That seems like such a simple question. You'd know what was going on before you called 911, but I imagine it's a little more difficult than that.
It sometimes is because, well, what might be an emergency for me may not be an emergency for you.
Okay.
And some people, when they have an emergency situation, they tend to panic.
Yes.
So we also use what's called repetitive persistence, where we ask the same questions over and over again in the same tone of voice, and then eventually, usually about the third or fourth question, or the same question over and over, they answer. Like, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. And then they can actually begin to calm down and tell us.
Right.
And that's very important for people to understand. We're not delaying in any way, shape, form. We're getting them on the way.
Help is on the way. Okay. All right, what else do we need to know?
What's your phone number? You would be surprised how many children, especially when second and third graders, we give them homework when we go for 911 education. Their homework is to make sure they know their address and their phone number. Because you'd be surprised how many people don't remember that.
Well, it's all programmed into our cell phones now.
Exactly. And if they've got a cell phone, okay, is it a prepaid cell phone? Does it accept incoming calls or not?
And most cell phones, you can make emergency calls
Yes.
on them, right?
All cell phones you can make 911 calls. All pay phones you can make 911 calls without depositing any money. If you have a phone jack in your house, Georgia state law says that you can dial 911. All you gotta do is plug a phone into that jack and you still can dial 911. We're not able to call you back, but it does show up the address of that house.
Really?
Yes.
It's interesting. Great. Well, these are all very important things that we need to know, especially in an emergency. And I thank you for being on our show today and sharing some of that with us.
Anytime, come back to visit.
And happy 911 Day.
Thank you.
This month, take the opportunity to say thank you to our 911 employees who work strange hours in a job that can be very stressful. They save lives every day by sending you the resources you need in an emergency and by keeping our county's public safety agencies connected. I hope to see you all at Lake Lanier Pet Fest, which is 9 to 6, September 25th, and 10 to 6, September 26th. Bring your pets and watch the Dixie Dock Dogs diving competition, listen to some local bands and nationally known acts like Amy Ray from the Indigo Girls, and enjoy all the activities planned for that weekend at Laurel Park. If you'd like more information about Pet Fest, please visit lakelanierpetfest.com. And I hope you'll visit hallcounty.org to check out our Pets for Adoption, find parks and leisure activities, or use our e-payment center. Thank you for watching. For Hall County Connection and TV 18, I'm Nikki Young.